sorry. Here I am. Right, let's start with skincare. And actually I'm doing a really different regime to my usual one at the moment. It is summer, although the weather is really awful at the moment. It's grey, it's not very warm. But something interesting has happened to my skin. It's not interesting, but something different has happened. And the usual creams that I might put on in the morning. So what I used to do, I would put hyaluronic acid, and I would put a vitamin C, and I would put a moisturiser, and then I would put an SPF, or maybe an SPF with a moisturiser in it, vice versa. But at the moment, and very recently actually, I found that that was all too much. My skin was quite greasy. I don't know if it was partly to do with the SPFs I was using. Anyway, what I'm doing now, and this may not work for everybody, obviously my skin is old, it's wrinkly, it's mature, it's well over 50, in fact it's well over 60 now. But I'm finding that I don't want all that heavy product on my skin. So this is what I'm doing, and I'm being a bit creative. I have nicked this from Tamara's Timeless Beauty. She mixed an SPF with her foundation. I think, I'm almost 100% sure she did that. I'll link her channel down below for you if you haven't come across her. She's fab. I absolutely love her. So this is what I'm doing. It's an experiment really, but it seems to be working. So I'm using 3 products. I'm using my Clinique Even Better foundation, which I really love. I'm using my, I don't love this actually, and I'm just trying to use it up, to be honest, an Ombre Solaire 50 plus. Really don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. I'm using it, but I don't love it. Let's put it that way. It's quite liquidy. And then the other thing I'm using, because vitamin C is so important, it seems, to mix with your SPF, or at least to have it on in the morning with your SPF. Usually people don't have a powder, but I am trying this powder. It's the new NUE. And you mix a couple of, I don't know what pumps, a couple of, goes from it into your, well, usually into your serum. But in this instance, I'm not using a serum. I am using, as I say, these 2 products. So this is what I'm doing. Let's hope it all works. It doesn't go all pear-shaped. But it has been working very well for a few days. So I'm going to do a couple of pumps. Well, actually more than a couple. About that much, actually, maybe a tad more. So about that much foundation. I'm going to shake this. There's very little left in this actually, but I've got another similar one which I'll carry on using. Then I'm going to put a bit of a glob, probably nowhere near as much as you're supposed to, of SPF, but to be honest, it's so cloudy. I'm not going anywhere until this evening. I'm definitely not going out. I shall be indoors all day. And then I'm going to use the vitamin C powder, and I'm going to pop that in. Ooh, with a couple of shakes. There we are. And that's the powder there. Actually, let me put the top on because we don't want it to go off, although I don't think a powder can get oxidised, can it? I don't know. Right, now I'm going to mix this together. Oh, do you know, I forgot to tie my hair back. It was silly of me. I'm going to mix it together and I'm going to put it on my face straight, just like that. Just like that, as Tommy Cooper would have said. Now, actually, I may not have put quite enough foundation on. Sorry, I'm just looking in my mirror over there. But actually, yeah, I might put a tad more. Actually, let me put it on the back here. Let's put a couple more, or one more drop. Yeah, there we are, just for a bit of extra coverage. Now, actually, what I should have said, what I will say is the Clinique foundation that I'm using has an SPF of 15 in it. And the Ombre Solaire has an SPF of 50, so I think a combination of those, and given the fact that I'm not going to be going anywhere today, is probably fine. Now, you see, that feels really, really nice on my skin. It feels, I mean, I don't know if you can see, but I think that looks pretty good. The coverage is okay. There are no dry areas. My skin is not dry. My skin is normal, although it's sensitive. Well, it's not even that sensitive, to be honest. It's just allergic to certain products. I wouldn't call it sensitive because it's not like it suddenly breaks out in a red flush, or, well, it does break out in a flush, but that's because I'm postmenopausal. But it doesn't, I don't suddenly get redness somewhere or anything like that. It's pretty normal, and it's not dry. And it used to be combination, and I used to have the most terrible zits when I was a teenager. Oh my Lord, they were just the end. But it wasn't really acne. Anyway, that's another story. So I think that looks pretty good. And the reason I wanted to do a potluck makeup today is because I wanted to play about a bit with my wonderful Madison Beer Morphe palette, which is the one I turn to all the time. But anyway, before I do that, let us continue with the rest of the makeup. So we're going to use, I think we'll go with the Kosas Concealer, Revealer Concealer, which is one of my faves. I fiddle around with concealers, as I think everybody does really. But at the moment, this is the one that I like best. And I'm going to pop that on there. It is probably a bit of a darker shade than maybe I could have gone with if I wanted to brighten my eyes a bit, but I don't know. It's all horses for courses, and at the moment I really like the consistency. What I'd really love to do, because another fantastic channel that I love, Pretty Over 50, Kimberly, she has raved about the Tarte Shape Tape, but the new one, the creamy one, which can I get my hands on the shade that I want? No. And I would, I mean, I don't think you can get it in this country. It's an American brand, I assume, and you can't get it. By the way, I'm just getting my Beauty Blender sponge. Oh, I nearly sprayed my face. I'm going to spray the sponge with a little bit of water. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the Tarte Shape Tape, the ultra creamy one, but I cannot get my shade. It's just such a shame. They always seem to be out of stock. It's a kind of a medium neutrally shade and it's just not available. So I'm just having to wait. I have signed up for the wait list, so we shall see. Anyway, this is my preferred way of applying concealer at the moment. Patting it in with a sponge. It's funny, my daughter got me this Beauty Blender sponge and I was very dismissive of it. I tried it a couple of times, thought, oh, that's not really for me. Now it's the one I turn to all the time. So there you go. Just shows you, even in your ripe old age, you can still change your ways. I think you can. Now, actually, just as I'm looking, I don't know if you can see this delightful thing here. I mean, I am quite moly anyway, but I think this is one of those horrible things you get when you're older. And apparently it is down to sun damage, or at least being in the sun. So, you know, but I like the sun. I mean, well, what sun anyway? There hasn't been any blimmin' sun in this country for God knows how long. I think it came out for about 10 minutes yesterday afternoon. And I was working at home and I was having some lunch and I just rushed out for 10 minutes to sit in it and then it disappeared. Right, now I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to look at my magnifying version just to check that it's all, oh, there's a bit of, it's always these tricky bits, isn't it, behind your nose there and the little creases. But I think that's looking pretty good. We've covered up, I mean, I have got some little zits here, but these are kind of permanent pink moles. There's a word for them. They're kind of, they call them lesions of some kind, I think. But, you know, it's pretty well covered up. Do you know what I must say? One of the advantages of getting older, and there aren't a load, but there are some, and one of them is if your eyesight isn't that great, to be honest, who is going to notice how big your pores are or whether you've got a little blemish here? No one. I mean, maybe younger people, but even they're not going to notice because they don't really take much notice of older people. So actually, let's just do the best we can, what we like to do for ourselves, but let's not worry too much about whether a pore here is showing or a zit there. I think we're doing fine. Us older women over 50 or over 60 in my case. So I think that's a pretty good base. Now, the next thing I do is I do not use a primer on my eyes, even though my eyelids are super greasy. I have found the best way to keep my eyelids prepared and dry for any eyeshadow I might be applying is to use a powder. So I use this Charlotte Tilbury, this one here, and I use a nice brush, which is a kind of a fluffy but pointy brush and not too big. And I just apply it all around where I've just put the concealer, really, all around here. And that usually keeps my eyelids nice and dry and ready for application of eyeshadow, and it keeps them nice and dry really and non sort of greasy for the rest of the day, which is very good. So there we are, that's fine. Okay, so we've done that. One day I'll show you what's going on down here. I've tried to divvy up my, what I'm sitting in front of is a kind of a dressing table, I suppose, but it's a table basically with two little drawers. well, they're not that little actually, but they're not deep, they're wide but shallow. I was just going to mention, in case you wonder why I'm looking down here, or down there as I will be in a minute, I've got a couple of drawers in this little table that I use for filming and actually use for making up as well. And on this side I've got some eyeshadow brushes and my powder and brush that I've just used for my eyelids, and also my eyebrow powder and brush that I'm going to use. And then on this side, actually just let me remind me, oh yeah, I've got my palettes. Well, most of my palettes I've actually taken one out because I know I'm going to use the Morphe. Anyway, so just a little sideline there. Just a little explanation of what I'm doing down here in case you were wondering. Now I'm going to put my brow makeup on, and I'm going to use my Bobbi Brown Saddle, which is my go-to eyebrow makeup at the moment, eyebrow powder. I just can't get on with pencils at all. They're just not for me. So powder is what I like, and then I do use a kind of a gel thing afterwards. So anyway, I use this saddle. This is the brush I use, which I really like. It's an angled brush. Just going to put my magnifying mirror around, and I just pop it on. I can't, as I say, I cannot draw fibres onto my fibres. I don't want to draw a fibre. I can't draw hair or hairs. Just can't do it. I think it's quite interesting. Some of the makeup gurus, the sort of older makeup women that I follow on YouTube, a lot of them, or some of them, seem to have some kind of designy or arty background. I mean, some of them are makeup artists, I guess, but some of them are much more designy or arty than I am, and I think that's why they're so good, and I am just learning, really. Oops. But anyway, we do the best we can. Now I've got a little stop saying I've got a little gap there, which I always try to fill by just patting the powder onto it. There we go. So yeah, that's about all I do with my brows, except I then, actually that's not quite all I do. I get a little spoolie and I brush them up just to kind of thin the powder a bit, because we don't want to be too heavy on the brow. And then I will also get my, at the moment, so I've got two on the go. Sometimes I use the L'Oreal Plump Set and Brow, which is that one, and sometimes I use the Hourglass, whatever it's called. I'll link it down below for you, which is this one. I think this is the one we'll use today, and we'll just lift up the brows a bit to give them a bit of texture because they are quite sparse. I've never tried serum on my brows, and maybe I should, but I'm always worried that I'm going to end up looking like Dennis Healy. So he's a British politician, for those of you who don't know, who had ridiculous eyebrows that looked like his, you know, someone should have got some shears and trimmed them regularly. But I don't think that will happen. So that's my brows done. Now, the next thing I tend to do before I do my eyes is I tend to do my bronzer and my blusher. So we're going to do those next. Now I'm debating whether to go cream or whether to go powder. And I think we'll go cream because it is the summer and I have been enjoying some of the bronzers. In fact, I did a video on bronzers. I'll link it down below for you. I've got 5 bronzers. In fact, I've got 4 really because I've retired one now. I've definitely retired the Chanel, the old Chanel bronzer, Soleil de Tan, because it's just too orangey. So I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty, this one here, Cheeks Out in Macchiato. All the products will be listed below. So we're going to go, I'm going to use my finger, I think. And here we go. And I'm now applying bronzer. When I use bronzer, it's a mixture for me of shaping my face and also giving it a bit of a lift, giving it a little bit of bronzing, as the name would suggest, because, as I say, actually the sun, I can just see the sun coming out. How amazing. It's supposed to be really grotty this afternoon. It's supposed to be raining until well past the time that we might go out this evening, which is a shame. Anyway, I'm putting it around my face, around my neck, and here and here. And what I'm going to do then, before I do anything with the bronzer, I'm then going to get my And before I do anything with the bronzer in terms of shearing it out or smoothing it out, I'm going to get my blusher, and I think I'm going to use my Bally, is that what it's called? Yeah, I think I'm going to use the Milk Makeup. Stop saying I think I'm going to use the Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek. I think it's called Bally, is it? Rally, beg its pardon, Rally, which I really like, the sort of pinky colour. And I'm going to do a bit of an adamant, and I'm going to do this. Just go up a little bit there, maybe come down a tad here. And then I'm going to smush it. Smush seems to be the word of the day, or the word of the week at the moment. And I'm going to kind of blend the two together. Just to give myself a bit of a, yeah, that's much better, isn't it? That's better. Okay, so I think skin is all done. I may have to tidy it up a bit after I've used the palette. Now, this is the palette I'm going to use. I haven't decided what colours I'm going to use. I'm not going to tell you the names of the colours because the one thing I don't like about this palette is the names of the colours, and I'm not going to tell you what they are, but I will show you which ones I'm going to use when I've decided. So in case you haven't seen this palette, this is it. And I think those colours are fabulous. Now, some of them are warm, I'll give you that, but I tend to lean towards cooler colours because I think it suits my skin tone better. I'm neutral with cool undertones, I think, or I'm cool with neutral undertones, I don't really know which. But I'm definitely not a warm bronze person, although I am wearing, well, I suppose this is white really, or just, yeah, it's not really cream, is it? Cream, yellow, orange, not my colours. Can't wear those. So definitely lean towards cool. Now, let us go with, I think, what we're going to do, because I'm hopefully going out tonight. It's a Saturday, so I think we'll go a little bit more zhuzhy than I might. So I think the key colours we're going to use are, let's have a think. So I like to go a bit darker on the lid, then a lighter transition colour, and then I use a much darker colour for my eyeliner. And I think because I'm going out tonight, we will stick with, I think we might go with these sort of tones here. So let me show you. So there's this one, this little family of tones, I think. I mean, that's more than 3, isn't it? But we'll just see how we go, because I might play about a bit with them. I think we'll start on the lid with this one, and then we might go a bit glittery. So we'll go with this colour here, followed by that one, and this one on the for contouring, for eyeliner. So let's make a start. Now, I'm a bit sort of haphazard with my brushes. The 2 brushes I always go to are, actually no, it's more than 2. So the brushes I use, I'm probably going to stick with these 4 actually, and I'll link them down below for you. That's them. And I'm going to start with this one, which I'm going to pat onto the main lid colour, which I think we decided was going to be this dark sort of, having said it is actually a bit of a warm colour, but there's something about this colour that does actually suit my green eyes, funnily enough. So actually I'll use this palette. Let's just pat that on like that. Yeah, this is a great colour actually, I really like it. Oh, that is very dark, but you know what I might do? I might lighten it up or glitter it up a bit with the one above. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. But it is a great colour, isn't it? So, this palette's been amazing. Honestly, it is. It's funny, I wasn't really a palette person. I used to use a lot of sticks. Ooh, I nearly went to the wrong colour there. I used to use a lot of Bobbi Brown's and Laura Mercier sticks, and I actually also had a fantastic pencil of very soft pencil of Charlotte Tilbury's. Yeah, I think that's a really nice colour, that. Now, what we're going to do before we do anything else, we are going to then go in with this brush. This is the Real Techniques I absolutely love. And I think we will use this colour here as a transition shade, that one there. So just tap that off. And we will start to pat that above. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing, can you? Actually, I can look over there, that's fine. We'll start to pat this above, not in any particularly you know, planned kind of way. It's just to plant some more colour on it. I mean, I suppose I could use another flat brush there, but actually it's easier when you're doing your crease. I think it's easier to use a pointy one, isn't it? And don't worry, it all looks terrible at the moment, but it won't in a minute, I promise, she says, hopefully. Now let's see how we go. I mean, it's all kind of blending into one a bit, but don't worry, panic ye not. We will then get our blending brush, which is this one here. Let's make sure it's a bit clean. And we're just going to blend, blend, blend. And it's kind of windscreen wiper, but it's almost more just round and round and round, isn't it? A bit more like a car wash, I suppose, than a windscreen wiper. Because they're kind of going round and round. And you just want to create, I mean, I always think of it as a bit of a halo effect. That's what I like to think of it of. Because you're sort of starting with a darker colour and then it's sort of shearing out. That's the idea, right? Let's just check that. Oh yeah, that's fine. That's all good. That's all good. I think what we might do is we'll put the glittery one. I'm just going to try it anyway. I might not like it, but I'm just going to try it. And I'm going to put it on with my finger so I don't go overboard. And here we go. And we'll just try that. So I just move my mirror again. But let's see. Actually, it's not really showing, is it? Let's just try again. Well, I suppose it gives a little bit of interest, doesn't it? Yeah, we'll leave that on. That's fine. That's all fine. Okay. Well, it's done something. I don't know. We'll just blend that a bit. There we go. Right, and there has been some fallout, which we will deal with in a minute. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get this lovely brush. This is a new one. I think this is Beauty Pie. This one here, nice flat, thin flat brush, and that's for your eyeliner. Now, I think what we're going to do, because we're going out tonight, we're going to take the really dark colour here. Oops. I'm just going to put that in like that. Now, I'm going to have to put this here. Let me just... So I'm just going to put this eyeliner on and then I'm going to do my mascara and then come back and finish off the look. So what did I do off camera? I put on my Maybelline Sky High Mascara, which is this one. On my lower lashes, I put the MAC Gigablack, which is that one. I also used something that I picked out of a recent video, which I'll link down below for you, where I went through some products that I didn't like or wasn't going to use again. I actually decided I was going to use this one again, and it's this one. It's a pencil that you would use in your waterline, a Kohl Kajal pencil. And actually, I mean, I think it kind of does help. So you just put it on your waterline to brighten your eyes, because my eyes can often be a bit bloodshot looking, and I think it really does actually help. So I've retrieved that from the meh pile. Now we're going to put some lipstick on. What I haven't done is I haven't put any powder on apart from around my eyes, because I just don't feel I need it really. And I mean, actually it is interesting. The blusher has sort of disappeared again, but we're going to remedy that. What we're going to do now is we're going to use a lipstick, and I think we're going to go with, let's have a look here. We've got our Lisa, oh no, that's too red. We're going to go, yeah, let's go with this Lisa Eldridge here, which is a potluck. Oh yeah, this is fab. This is a Lisa Eldridge lipstick, and I will tell you what it's called in 2 seconds. It is called Velvet Blush. Oh, well, perfect, because we're going to use it as a blusher as well. Now, it's this here. I mean, Lisa Eldridge lipsticks are fabulous. They really are. However, they sometimes can look a bit too much on me. I found with Lisa Eldridge lipsticks that the best way for me to apply them so that they don't look too full on is with my finger. And I'm just going to kind of, again, smoosh. It's that word, smoosh, isn't it? Dot and smoosh it on. So I'm just going to make this bigger again because I can't see. And I think it gives a really nice sort of flush of colour, as it were, without looking too heavy or too obvious. See, I think that's really nice. It gives colour, but it's not too much, because the eyes are quite full on, aren't they? Actually, I just wanted to mention about the eyes as well, that the reason why I think this kind of eye makeup is great for over 50s, over 60s is because it is a kind of a smoky eye. I mean, okay, we've gone a bit sort of heavier than I might do in the daytime with the eyeliner, a powder eyeliner as it were. But what I think is good is it still looks quite natural. It doesn't look like you've tried too hard. I mean, why that should be a problem, I don't know. But I just feel, I feel comfortable with it. I feel like it looks like I've made an effort, but I haven't spent hours putting my makeup on. I don't want that look. That's not the kind of look I'm after. I'm always after kind of a slightly lived-in look, I suppose. So that's what I've tried to achieve. Now, I think because we haven't really quite got enough blush on here, and it seems to be disappearing at pace. Let's try that, because then we've got the right colour. I am going to use my my sponge again. Oh yeah, see, that's a really lovely colour, isn't it? That is a fabulous colour. So you can see it is a bit potluck because we weren't quite sure where we were going with this. But I think, let me just check close up to make sure that looks, oh yeah, that's lovely. I really like that colour. That's so nice. Well, there you have it. I think we're done. What do you think? I really, really like this colour, I must say. I think this is a great look for older 50 women. Obviously, what I've used in terms of on my face is quite an unusual combo, but it works for my skin, so it might be worth trying it if your skin is just feeling like it's got too much cream, too many emollients, too many humectants on it for the time of year. Let me know in the comments below. I'd be really interested to know what works for you at the moment. Just to say, one of the reasons I've been a bit careful about putting too heavy creams on my skin is a few years ago I used to go to a fabulous beautician in North London, and I started to notice, and she noticed actually, that I was getting some milia, and she thought that it was probably to do with me using too heavy a cream. I think it was in the days before my allergies were diagnosed, and I just thought that the really dry skin around my eyes particularly was caused by a dry skin rather than an allergy. So anyway, that's what I'm quite careful and mindful of now, is I don't want to put too heavy creams on because my skin just isn't going to tolerate it. It's just not going to like it. I think this is, yeah, I think this is a really nice look. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and better yet, subscribing to the channel, and let me know in the comments below what works for you. Do you like any of the products I've used? As I said, they'll all be listed and linked below. Let me know. I'd be really interested. I haven't heard from anybody who's used the Morphe palette before, the Morphe times Madison Beer palette, but I think it's lovely. And just to mention, I'm super excited because I will be doing a video very soon on the Stone Cold Fox palette, which you have to get from the States. It arrived this morning. I'm so excited. I haven't even opened it yet, so I'm going to do a full video on that coming soon. Anyway, thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.